All right, hello, folks. Welcome back to round 5. I messed up and forgot to put the thing again. Welcome back.
So easy to forget.
It's always a forget. Round 5, CardArt Card Shop, Sunnyvale, California. I'm Zach. That's Ben. That's Aaron's hand once again. Very classic. And we are in round 5. This is the win and in for our two players. One of them may be familiar to you if you caught last round's game. There's no other preamble. Let's just dive in, shall we?
Yeah, they're already in team preview. We might not have a lot of time to discuss this. The team that has not been on stream yet is Mitchell's team, running the Oranguru Maushold family of 4, Enamorus-Therian, Urshifu, that is the
Dark
single strike variant, Bruxish, and the Ursaluna.
Yes, so this is a Trick Room team pioneered by players like Cortex and Ben Grimmsnarl, VGC. So very hard Trick Room team, really cool option. It features a number of very interesting choices. Ursaluna is a pretty classic Trick Room Pokemon at this point. Enamorus-Therian, very easy Trick Room Pokemon at this point. But the Urshifu and the Bruxish are a little bit interesting because both of them are carrying power items. Normally, these help you train your Pokemon more effectively. But in this context, they also have your speed stat, which makes it so that this single strike Urshifu will underspeed the slowest Ursaluna, be able to fire off a powerful Wicked Blow in Trick Room. Really helps you get the most out of your Trick Room turns if you don't have to worry about people double protecting on it that way. So the name of the game is how is Cody going to stop Mitchell's Trick Room assault?
Question we're going to have to wait and find the answer to. We have Mitchell leading off with the Oranguru Maushold, and Cody with the Gholdengo Rillaboom.
Yep. Oranguru very usefully does have inner focus, so it cannot be flinched by Rillaboom's fake out. It's normal typing, also keeping it safe from the likes of Gholdengo's Shadow Ball. So a very easy Trick Room option for this Oranguru. We do see that the Rillaboom in this case does actually have Taunt. It could taunt to stop the Oranguru from going for a Trick Room, but of course Maushold can, as it likes to do, go for that follow me to stop that, or even go for a counter taunt. You can taunt the taunt. Maushold taunt Rillaboom, so Rillaboom cannot taunt Oranguru to stop Trick Room.
Yeah, I would think in this particular spot, Trick Room is reasonably guaranteed from the side of Mitchell. We do see Make It Rain come out here. Both Pokemon holding on, Maushold barely surviving. That does get out of dodge with a U-turn, doing some nice super effective damage to that Rillaboom, but still not all that much damage. The pivoting is more important here.
Yeah, and now because Oranguru has inner focus as its ability, Mitchell can decide what he wants to bring in here, knowing that Trick Room will be up at the end of this turn here. So it's either going to be the Specs, and it has a lot of fairy-type offensive options here, very impactful. Things not named Gholdengo, or of course the Urshifu, very potent offensive option once again. Wicked Blows are going to be really hard for this team in particular to switch into, other than the Grimmsnarl. It's really the only thing that can handle it.
I would say, you could switch in the Arcanine and get an Intimidate, but Urshifu, kind of its calling card is not caring about Intimidate, assuming that is going for the Wicked Blow. Trick Room does indeed go up. Enamorus is the Trick Room Pokemon of choice on this turn. And now we have 5 turns of Trick Room for Mitchell to play with.
Yep, so Enamorus is going to try to start doing damage pretty quickly here. The awkward part is that it cannot go for the fairy type attack, hit Rillaboom, and the ground type attack, then go at the same time. One thing is though, because this is a Choice Specs Enamorus, and we saw that it didn't go for the Terra Fairy, it might just be able to power through the resistance with the raw power of Specs Moonblast, and essentially 2 of them with that instruction.
I think we are definitely... I think in terms of Moonblast targets, it's hard to look for a better one than Grimmsnarl. We did see Grimmsnarl switch before the Gholdengo, so yes, Gholdengo is safe from a potential Earth Power, but that is not what's happening here.
Yep, the Earth Power wouldn't have done that much, but the Moonblast easily just annihilates this Grimmsnarl, quickly KO'd. No screen shenanigans slowing down Mitchell's offense. Now the best switch-in to Wicked Blow is no more. Oranguru is going to instruct Enamorus, going to remind it how to do Moonblast, so it does it one more time. See how much this does into this Rillaboom. It's 2 knockouts in 1 turn. Rillaboom does not have the Assault Vest, and it does not hang on.
Well, that is an incredible turn, too, for Mitchell. He's very firmly in the driving seat in this game 1.
Turns out Moonblast is a good move. Who knew?
Yeah, Choice Specs Moonblast. Good. Pretty good.
Ask Fluttermane.
Ask your local Fluttermane. The good news for Cody is that there are now 2 Pokemon on the field that will resist the Moonblast sitting here between the Hisui and Arcanine and the Gholdengo, neither of which will mind taking a Moonblast too much, but it is still Choice Specs Terra Fairy Moonblast, with the potential for it to happen twice in a row, and even if you resist it, after you take 2 of those, I don't think you're going to be able to take a third.
Extreme speed from Arcanine, gonna try to do a little bit of chip damage to that Oranguru before it potentially gets KO'd by the Moonblast. But the Moonblasts are not targeting into the Arcanine. Arcanine does have the Assault Vest. Gholdengo does not. So it is gonna take 1 Moonblast to a little bit over half. That's huge damage from that. And the follow-up Instruct, doing it again, gonna get another Moonblast into this. I didn't think I would see Gholdengo 1-hit KO or 2-hit KO'd by Moonblast today, but wow.
Yeah, no, that is a lot of damage. Enamorus-Therian thrives in the Trick Room environment, and now it is very swiftly a 1v4. Granted, one of the 4 is Maushold 4 at very low HP, but I think between Enamorus and Urshifu in the back, Mitchell should have this one pretty well locked up.
Arcanine has the Assault Vest, so it's going to be able to take those Moonblasts pretty comfortably, but it has to take a lot of them, and you can only take so little damage from Choice Specs Terra Fairy Moonblast, and yeah, looks like it's still a lot of damage here, right? And Oranguru can construct Moonblast. Like, what are you gonna do?
Enamorus content to sit here firing off one of the best single target moves in the entire game. We have a 4th Moonblast.
And yeah, Arcanine does survive, so I think Mitchell was very smart to not target it previously, going after the Gholdengo instead, because Gholdengo does not have Protect this one because it is Choice Spec, so both targets didn't have Protect, but one of them had a increased special defense, the other one didn't, so kind of makes sense for people to target the way he did. And another Moonblast is just going to seal this up. Trick Room's not even going to fully expire, and Oranguru doesn't even go down here. It survives with 4 health, so Mitchell, yeah, the Moonblast is going to seal this. Mitchell has played that perfectly.
Yeah, add salt to the wound there. Oranguru is not even felled by the extreme speed, and making this a very keen in favor of Mitchell here. I think if I'm Cody, I'm going to want to be a lot more careful of Trick Room going up in the next game. Maybe find a better way to get around, because that was disastrous, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, that was a clinic. I think that's what they call that. That was crazy. Like, here's the other thing is that Cody did not even see what Mitchell's 4th Pokemon was.
Oh.
It was kind of just the Enamorus clicks Moonblast and everything faints kind of show. That was all that happened, really.
Could have been Bruxish. It could have been Ursaluna.
It could have been Urshifu. There's 2 bears it could have been. He doesn't know which one it was.
There was a fish and 2 bears.
Fish, 2 bears. One of those is...
One of those animals is in the back.
Yeah, but of course, Cody, it makes that even harder for Cody to adjust because he doesn't know what exactly he was adjusting. He didn't have full information of what he was adjusting. What Mitchell prioritized in that last slot is very important, and the fact that Cody didn't get that information is going to make this even harder. I think he's going to need to get Grimmsnarl in really quick and just get the screens up because otherwise there's very little in the ways of weathering this storm. It wasn't even Springtide Storm, it was just Moonblast.
No, I think there was just way too much damage coming out from Mitchell's end. And you're going to get into game 2 here. See if Cody can find a way to better mitigate the amount of damage that will be coming out from the side. Should Trick Room go up successfully?
We are going to see the Rillaboom Gholdengo once again from Cody, and same leads once again. Maushold.
It's hard to imagine the fake out will go into Oranguru again following turn 1 of game 1. But I don't know how you stop Trick Room if you're in this position. It would follow me on the table.
One thing that could happen is if Cody could just go all in, just make it rain Woodhammer into the Oranguru. That might be enough to just pick up the knockout right there. Just that Maushold follow me is really, making that a little bit harder to go for because Like, I don't think Mitchell cares that Maushold goes down. It's kind of better for him.
Big ol' Make It Rain comes out. Maushold once again surviving just barely. And Rillaboom does actually get the taunt off onto Oranguru. Was not redirected by Maushold there. Maushold is going to, again, leave the field, U-turning out. But now Trick Room is not going to be able to be set up because of the taunt.
Yep. Taunt with Rillaboom with taunt is going to be important here. The Trick Room, it's not going to be set up. This Oranguru does not have the mental herb. This one's carrying safety goggles. Collecting 4 instead of taunt. Going to be punishing here because Oranguru, yeah, can't set up the taunt. Power Banded Urshifu is really slow here. Yeah, the one way that Oranguru, the one Pokemon that Mitchell has to set up Trick Room is now unable to do so. It's going to have to either sit around for a bit, throwing Psychics, which aren't going to do a whole lot, or switch out. Come back in later.
Yeah, Oranguru is now in a pretty awkward spot because it can sit around and do minimal damage, or switch out and potentially let something else tank and make it rain, or it would hammer. Gholdengo going to switch out though, keep himself around for later with that special attack stat. Grimmsnarl switches in here. Grimmsnarl going to take pretty much anything from Urshifu way better than Gholdengo would have, close combat aside. We do see a Terra coming out from, I believe, this side of, yes, it is onto that Urshifu.
Is going for the Terra Grass onto the Urshifu. Realizes, okay, I might have to play without Trick Room for a little bit. I need Urshifu to stick around. Woodhammer is the biggest way that Cody has to damage that Urshifu. He's going to go into the Maushold instead. Pick up the 7 HP on that. Not too impactful. But again, this Terra Grass more of insurance that Woodhammer would not cleanly KO. The Wicked Blow does a big chunk to that Rillaboom. It might be enough with Grassy Terrain and the Citrus Berry to survive one more.
Yeah, in which case Urshifu, I don't know, this is awkward, right?
Very
now
awkward.
This is awkward because you can't really freely switch in Oranguru because you can just get taunted again, but you don't really want an Enamorus to come in either because Trick Room isn't up and you're going to be threatened with damage from Rillaboom, even though it won't be that much. Grimmsnarl can Spirit Break you. Grimmsnarl can set up screens. It's the difference in turn 1s between game 1 and 2 is pretty dramatic.
Yeah, it's a matter of like, this is a Trick Room team, right? Getting up Trick Room is imperative, and so Mitchell was unable to do so in turn 1, and now he's going to try to go for it again. I like this. I think he's going for a bait with the Oranguru, for baiting the taunt out. It's like one more turn of offense that he can prevent Rillaboom from going for. We're going to go for yet another Wicked Blow to try to pick up that knockout while the taunt goes off. So Enamorus switching in for the Oranguru. Yeah, going to be the Woodhammer into the Enamorus. Takes that a lot better. And the Spirit Break to follow up going to do a lot of damage to this Enamorus and lower its special attack. So Enamorus kind of the sacrificial cloud snake thing here, but Rillaboom does get KO'd.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it here. On the, unfortunately for Mitchell though, taunt didn't go into the Oranguru slot. Cody not falling for it, just saying, I'm going to keep doing damage while I'm in a good position to do damage.
Yeah.
And so Enamorus takes a whole bunch of damage, is now at -1 special attack. Gholdengo is back in, almost definitely outspeeding this Urshifu here. And yeah, now it's sort of the polar opposite of game 1. For game 1, Mitchell was in an amazing position following turn 1. Game 2, Cody's been in a pretty great position following turn 1, though not as dramatic.
The Choice Specs Gholdengo is definitely in a spot to do a huge amount of damage, right? Neither of these Pokemon can... Oh, Urshifu can detect, actually. That's a nice defensive option. Gholdengo does have to worry about Sucker Punch, but it, of course, can Terra out of that weakness. You see that it is Terra fighting, so it can definitely Terra out of a fighting weakness, dark weakness. And even Arcanine to help make sure that this Enamorus really can't do the damage that it's looking to do. The deck is stacked, but no Terra, so Sucker Punch just gets KO onto Gholdengo. A critical hit. Urshifu known for crits, not with Sucker Punch though. That's huge.
That is definitely a big crit, especially following the Intimidate from the Arcanine here. That is a huge deal. Arcanine will definitely tank the Dazzling Gleam with little to no effort. But without Gholdengo, that's a lot of offense just off the table for Cody.
Yeah, and now Enamorus is in a pretty Arcanine, it can like switch out and potentially get Oranguru can potentially get a Trick Room now. Urshifu still can just start throwing out more Wicked Blows. The one problem is that Grimmsnarl is a big hindrance to Wicked Blow just cleanly KOing the team, but Mitchell's now got the tools I think that he needs to close this out. There's no more switching from Cody, it's just Arcanine and Grimmsnarl.
It is worth noting that Arcanine is in a pretty solid position offensively. Yeah. Flare Blitz is going to obviously threaten a huge amount of damage onto the bear that now has a plant on its head. And Enamorus being under half health is not going to want to take a Flare Blitz either.
It's got to be Arcanine is still a very precarious position. Oranguru switching in to take a potential Flare Blitz as Grimmsnarl just going to set up a Reflect, lower the damage from the light post-combat, which the Arcanine would be worried about otherwise. Oranguru surviving the Flare Blitz does get burned though. Very effect not very likely, but he's going to cancel Grassy Terrain recovery as Arcanine takes yet more chip damage from this Dazzling Gleam and the recoil. Grimmsnarl takes a lot from that though.
Grimmsnarl does take a lot from that, but I think it's important to note that Dazzling Gleam was selected as the move for Enamorus and not Earth Power. Because Earth Power wasn't selected there, Arcanine is sitting pretty for now, regardless of the fact that Light Screen wasn't set up the previous turn.
Right, Light Screen is not up, and Grimmsnarl, as long as Enamorus gets one more attack off, it should be able to KO that Grimmsnarl. We know it's locked into the Dazzling Gleam, and it's going to be the Rock Slide instead, going to get a double knockout here. So no damage, Grimmsnarl is preserved. And I don't know, Grimmsnarl did not go for a Prankster move, so it's going to be going for Spirit Break into nothing here. And now Mitchell has just this Terra Grass Urshifu. It helped him in the early game, but really going to come back to bite him now that this Arcanine's looking at a very juicy Flare Blitz target.
Yeah, I think he might. I think if you're Mitchell, you're hoping for another Sucker Punch critical hits onto that Arcanine. And that might be enough to pick it up. Arcanine is pretty bulky normally.
Maybe Urshifu survives Flare Blitz? I don't know. Probably not, but yeah, I think that might be the best bet is the Sucker Punch crit again, which also was really pivotal earlier. Urshifu just going to protect, wait this one out a little bit, see what this Arcanine decides to go for. Also, probably Mitchell just deciding, okay, I need a little more time to figure out how to play this game. Turn 1 did not go well for him.
Turn 1, juxtaposed to game 1, turn 1, but a bit of a disaster here. We do see the Sucker Punch to lock in for Urshifu here. It makes a lot of sense. The only win con is not quite enough. No critical hit this time. Flare Blitz coming out from the Arcanine, and yeah, that is going to be a clean one-hit KO. Thank you, Grass Typing, Arcanine says.
Urshifu will be KO'd here, and that's going to do it for Mitchell. Cody is going to bring us to a game 3 here.
Arcanine taking itself out due to recoil, but it has done its job. Grimmsnarl says, good job, buddy.
That was game 2, and now game 3. It's just gonna be it's gonna be turn 1, right? Like it's got it. That's gonna be the decider, right?
Based on game 1 and 2, yeah, turn 1 is going to decide. It's a bit of an oversimplification to say that turn 1 decides the entire game. It does a little bit though.
For a team like
in
this
this sort of matchup.
Yeah, it really like. Mitchell got Trick Room up, and he won in 5 turns. He won before Trick Room ended in game. And in game 2, it was a scrap where Mitchell was behind kind of the whole time. It's very awkward.
Yeah, hard Trick Room teams without Trick Room available to them. I mean, I don't need to tell you that they have a bit of trouble.
Case in point, what we just saw in game. So I think Mitchell's going to be looking to, okay, maybe he's probably going to go with the same game plan, but I think he just needs to figure out, okay, what is a safer turn 1? Because that turn 1 with the taunt on Rillaboom really just it stopped the Trick Room turn 1, and that derailed everything.
It really did derail everything. A Follow Me from Maushold would have prevented that, but then you don't get to pivot out, and being able to pivot out on turn 1 to get your Trick Room sweeper in on turn 2 as Trick Room starts is so good for momentum.
Oh yeah, we saw like the fact that Enamorus had all the turns of Trick Room to work with gave it so much breathing room to just fire off those huge moon blasts. So there might be a bit of it. Mitchell's going to have a better turn 1 than he did last time to have, I think, a shot at this. We'll have to see what he comes up with Cody, yeah, going with the same one, just saying, hey, can you stop this lead? And it looks like Mitchell's option to stopping this lead is going to be our wonderful, ugly clownfish, Bruxish, to stop that fake out option with its dazzling ability.
Let's go, Bruxish. Wow, I can't even talk. I'm so stymied.
Bruxish
is on stream. Bruxish is such a cool Pokemon. Its ability Dazzling is akin to Serena's Queenly Majesty, where it blocks priority moves from the opposing side, or Armor Tail from Giraffe. So it will block the fake out from Rillaboom. That's the good news. The bad news is the Water Psychic type is sitting on the other side of Gholdengo and Rillaboom in grassy terrain, so Bruxish kind of really doesn't want to be here.
Yes, the one saving grace is that Maushold will be able to keep it safe, as with the follow me that we did see that Mitchell did go for, so he's going to keep it safe from the likes of this Shadow Ball, which now Maushold takes no damage from, and the follow-up Woodhammer is going to do a huge chunk for this Maushold. Does not get KO'd quite yet, but crucially keeps Bruxish safe and lets it set up that Trick Room.
Trick Room going up, as we've harped on, pretty huge here. And if I'm Mitchell, I would have wanted Maushold to go down there. Maushold still being here is a little awkward. You can follow me away the Woodhammer, but now the way the speeds work, Shadow Ball will end up going into Bruxish, and you don't really want that?
Yeah, this is now a little bit of an awkward. So, like, Mitchell got Trick Room up, which is awesome, but he's not going to have the same kind of Trick Room he had last in Game 1, where he had the full turns to work with. Now he's going to probably have the last 3 turns. He's probably going to be looking for this turn to get one of these Pokemon out safely and into either Urshifu or that Enamorus in the back. Gholdengo realizing, okay, I'm probably not going to, I don't want to Shadow Ball into a normal type once again. Switch into Grimmsnarl, saying, all right, I'm going to survive this onslaught with some screen support.
Bruxish going to protect here, doesn't want to eat a Woodhammer. U-turn actually going off before anything Rillaboom does. So pretty important to note, Maushold is slower than Rillaboom. That's interesting.
There's a very slow Maushold usually on these sorts of teams, so you can get that last U-turn, which is important outside of Trick Room. Inside Trick Room, not as helpful though. Rillaboom is going to go for a U-turn of its own, but Bruxish did protect here, so Enamorus is in safely. Does have 2 prime targets of a fairy type attack, so I think it's time for Enamorus to start throwing out some fairy moves like it did in Game 1, and that did not end well last time.
No, it did not. And Bruxish is still on the field and does offer some offensive pressure with both the Stab Wave Crash as well as the Super Fang. Super Fang, very important to cut an opposing target down to half health to make Enamorus' job even easier.
Yep, we are going to see the Terrestrialization go to the Enamorus again. Once again, Terra Fairy. This is just Trick Room Fluttermane at this point, right? It's just throwing out huge fairy moves, going to do huge damage. Grimmsnarl is going to try to curb that a little bit with this light screen, but Grimmsnarl is probably not going to be able to survive. And Bruxish is slower.
Bruxish slower, able to land the Super Fang, but does critically activate the Citrus Berry on the Rillaboom here, bringing it back up to just about where it was before. Terra Fairy, Dazzling Gleam, Choice Specs coming out here. Does a lot of damage, but Light Screen putting in a lot of work there.
Yep, Light Screen is able to save.
Oh, man.
That is a big not Woodhammer. That was a big U-turn. That did a lot to Bruxish. Bruxish is not the bulkiest of Pokemon, but yeah, that Light Screen was huge. It let 2 Pokemon survive a Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam from this Choice Specs Enamorus. Now, Gholdengo is now in a pretty solid spot where it's got a lot of HP. It knows the Dazzling Gleam is coming. It can probably survive it. And I think both these Pokemon might just be in Make It Rain range.
Make it range.
Make it range, yeah, exactly. So, Trick Room Tombs are counting down, right? Mitchell only brought Bruxish as his only Trick Room setter, so as soon as Bruxish goes down, Trick Room is off the table. It's still a tricky spot. Definitely a closer game than we've had in either Game 1 or 2.
Yes, I think so. Despite Trick Room being set up, things are a lot more touch and go, I think, for both sides. I'm wondering if Mitchell is going to switch out the Bruxish here to preserve it. Actually doesn't. Grimmsnarl just going for the Reflect here to weaken the damage from big offensive Bruxish. Going for the Wave Crash is enough to finish off Grimmsnarl despite the Reflect.
Yep, so Grimmsnarl is KO'd. The Wave Crash, this is not going to be single target Dazzling Gleam. That's great. But I don't know. We'll see how much damage this can actually do. We saw how much the Moonblast did last time, but yeah, Dazzling Gleam noticeably weaker here. Does not make it can get close to a two-hit KO. And yeah, let's make it rain. Easy two-hit KO here. Maybe that's what Mitchell wanted. Now Urshifu does get to come in.
Urshifu coming in here, I think, is good for Mitchell. Sometimes losing Pokemon is good for momentum. Case in point, Bruxish was not doing a whole lot here. Enamorus also not doing a whole lot, locked into a fairy move against the likes of Gholdengo. So now Mitchell gets 2 free switch-ins to Urshifu and Maushold. Urshifu will be able to be kept safe by said Maushold.
And Urshifu is in a pretty solid spot to start throwing out those strong Wicked Blows because, right, the one Dark-type resistance that Cody has on his team, that Grimmsnarl, so many G's, was KO'd already. So, yeah, Rillaboom is out on the field, but yeah, it's so low at this point. It's really in threat of a lot of things, but Fake Out is important.
Fake Out being on the table is definitely important. Install the Urshifu for 1 turn. Follow Me cannot redirect away Fake Out, as we know, due to how the priority bracket works. And so it's just a question of what Mitchell will do in the face of the Fake Out. Fake Out does come out, stop Urshifu for this turn.
Maushold is just going to go for the Follow Me, a bit of a read. I don't know if it's quite going to pan out here. Going to see Urshifu does indeed flinch. Gholdengo's going for the Make It Rain. Going to do half to Urshifu and do a lot of damage to that Maushold. At this point, I think this is the last turn of Trick Room. There's been a lot of jockeying for positioning on Mitchell's end, but yeah, that taunt on Rillaboom is going to be really impactful in this set. But yeah, now, yeah, the Trick Room is over, and so now Rillaboom can just get the KO with a Wood Hammer. And Urshifu is great, but it can't hit 2 things at once.
It cannot hit 2 things at once. Sucker Punch, it does have its choice of target in terms of Sucker Punch. Reflect was not set up, only Light Screen. But if both Pokemon attack, I don't know if Gholdengo just opting to switch out does not want to get hit by that Sucker Punch here. Arcanine, an excellent switch in, dropping the Intimidate. And Rillaboom, if Rillaboom's going for the attack here, I think we saw, yes, the Sucker Punch was selected into Rillaboom, so that's step 1.
Step 1, it's possible. It's possible. Now that Gholdengo can come back in, it is still choice specs, but it does have Trick. So now they're Trick mind games. If Urshifu goes for Sucker Punch and Gholdengo goes for Trick, then it's probably over. That's to say that, I mean, Arcanine can probably just KO this Urshifu with Flare Blitz, but we'll have to see. There's going to be a Terra for just to make sure to be super safe about this. Yeah, Cody hasn't even used it yet, so the Terra fighting on the Gholdengo will be able to keep it very safe from a Sucker Punch.
Don't see that every day.
Yeah.
Interject real quick. Terra fighting, Terra Blast, Gholdengo.
Arcanine going for just a normal Terra Blast. Special move, does solid damage, and gonna finish it in style with 2 Terra Blasts.
Double Terra Blast, one of them Terra fighting Terra Blast. So in case you haven't seen that animation, there you go.
There you go.
I don't think I had.
I've never seen that one. That was very nice. Nice way to end this out. A double Terra Blast. Mitchell getting narrowly taken out of that game, but very close. Very close set. That is the road you take when you take a very hard Trick Room team like this. It kind of lives or dies by whether you get Trick Room up in a good enough spot to capitalize on it. And Mitchell got it in game 3, but was just short of being able to get enough value from it.
Right, as we saw, it's not really as simple as, oh, I click Trick Room and then I win the game. Not that I'm saying anybody thinks that, but in case people see that and think, oh, why don't more people run hard Trick Room teams if it's so strong? Well, the problem is it can be very difficult to position yourself in such a way to let you actually sweep the game in 5 turns. You have to be able to play it really well, and sometimes you'll even need to set up a second Trick Room.
Yeah, it's hard. You either need to win in those 5 turns or position it so that you can either get a second Trick Room or have enough where like Urshifu Sucker Punch can like clean up. But either way, those are not the easiest things to do, right? And we saw in that set exactly right. So that's a great way to end up our Swiss round. We're going to take a little bit of a longer break as we set up our top cut bracket, make sure everything all squared away that way. But we will be back shortly with some top cut action. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Cutting to a top 8 real quick.
Yeah.